electrophysiology of the heart. So pay attention to the word. Electro means what?
Electric.
The electricity, of course.
You gonna bring the machine in?
Physiology.
You gonna bring the machine in here?
The study.
Physiology, the study?
Yeah.
Study.
Is the study of the functions
Okay.
of the electricity of the heart. Because remember, when we're gonna do an EKG, what we're gonna record is the electrical activity of the heart. So for now, we're gonna see how that is gonna play a role right here, because that's what we're gonna see. Where is that electricity is gonna come from? So that's basically what it is. So let's see. Oh, this is not touch.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
it was
got
like-
touch screen
Computers, I be
queen.
touching they stuff. Oh,
That's not very demure of you. Look at him. Look at him not touch.
the mirror of you. Yo, she's silly.
No, she fixed one thing, but then I'm trying to do the. Okay, so this is a little complex. So I'm gonna make it very simple for you, because it is a little confusing. So let's have two cells right. Oh my God, why am I picking this? I'm gonna throw on the floor because I always pick in the same one. So we have two cells right here. This is what we're gonna see. So we have cell that is at rest. Ooh, seriously?
Put in the order.
What is wrong with the markers?
Make them because then let's see. Check money. I always prepare. You know, with this, never know.
He said I'm always prepared.
Yeah, you have to always be prepared. Don't trust that somebody's gonna have everything that you need, because then it's when you're wrong. Oh, I'm gonna marry this person because this person is gonna help me to get out of debt, and we're gonna go traveling. It's gonna provide me with this. It turns out that you're gonna be providing for it.
True.
Rest, and this is, if this is a rest, what should be this active?
Wait. Oh, but.
Huh? What did you say? Say something funny?
Tired.
No, believe me.
I said wait. That's why.
Oh, okay, no, that's fine. Just try to keep yourself awake.
I am.
Okay, so when we talk about resting position or the electrical negativity of a cell, means if it is negative, it's because it's at rest. If it is positive, it's because it's active. So how a cell, remember, we're talking about cells because the cells, a group of cells, you have a group of cells. What a group of cells makes up? Tissue, right? If I have a group of cells and I put them together, what do you get? Tissue. If I got cells, a group of cells, tissue. If I have a group of tissue, what do you get? Organ. If I have a group of organs, what do you have? System. If you have a group of systems, what do you have? The whole body. So we are made of these tiny microscopic cells, right? But when we put tons of them that has the same function, then we have a tissue. And then we take all those tissues that have the same quality, the same functions, we have organs. When we have all these organs that make the same function, we can have a system. That's why we have the respiratory system, because all these organs are the same function. The cardiac system has all the functions. The digestive system, all then make one function, right? So then, if we would put all these systems together, we're gonna have the entire body, right? So now here, in order for us to have these cells that works together, to make a tissue, and all those tissues to make an organs and to make systems, well, we're gonna just start with the cell, not talking about the organ as a whole. So here, we have two chemicals in our blood, in our system, that makes this to happen. These are the major ones. There are more, but we're gonna talk about two of them so you can understand the process. We're gonna have, what is this?
Na plus.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it is.
What is this?
Something's like sodium.
Yes, sodium. And this?
Carrots.
Potassium.
Oh, tell me. See, I know.
You said sodium and potassium?
Uh-huh.
What's the first one? I can't see the
Na plus. Capital N, lowercase a, and then plus on.
Don't worry about this. It's Na. Usually we use Na, but they are positives.
Oh, okay.
And this, see, this is positive.
Oh,
Potassium. Okay.
I wonder why like the letters is like that. Why is it K?
So we have two chemicals that assist the cells to contract and to relax. But how does that happen? Well, when the cells, the tissues, the muscles, the organ is at a rest, something is happening. So this is a cell, and the cell, let's put, this is the cell membrane, this is the cytoplasma, this is the nucleus in the center. So when the cell is at rest, potassium is inside and sodium is outside. Pay attention to this because this is so important. What happens when the cell is active? The other way around. Oh no, my
It
bad.
switches, right?
It switches.
So what is potassium?
At rest, sodium is no potassium. Potassium is inside, sodium is outside. So when it's
Oh,
active,
okay.
it switches.
Okay.
So what is gonna go inside?
And
Sodium. And what is gonna go outside?
Potassium.
Potassium. That's the whole like three slides that we're gonna see here. It's gonna be explaining that. So when the cell is at rest, it's charged negatively or positively? Negatively.
When they rest negative. Okay.
Right? Because you're not active, you're not doing
Right,
anything. It's like me sitting here not doing anything or sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
How is my body electrical? Negative.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when I'm running and doing something, I'm
Positive.
active. So that is basically what's telling you all that. So if you have a question in your exam, let's assume that you have a question. So during the resting position, what happened to the calcium and the sodium? Then you have to say potassium is inside, sodium is outside. This is on the cell membrane. Let's put it right here. And potassium is inside the nucleus, inside the cytoplasm. So basically that's what it is. So the sodium can be here, but the sodium is always outside. Here, the potassium will be outside and the sodium will be inside. So that's it. So if you know the resting position, you should know the other one. If you know veins, you should know arteries. Why? This is the opposite. So always think about opposite. If they put me to compare this and that, oh, let's do this. Atria on top, ventricles in the bottom. Atria receives blood. What do the ventricles? They discharge, they pump, because it's the opposite. If this is negative, what is the other one? Positive. If this is at rest, the other one is active. See how different wordings, but same message? So that's how we are going to deal with this. See, sodium is outside, potassium is inside. When it's at rest, the opposite also is true. So I have all this information. Here is when we're gonna use those other terms that mean systolic or systole and diastole. Now, remember, every single time they're talking about blood pressure, talk about systole, systolic, or diastole and diastole. Is that understood?
Yes.
When we start talking about EKG, electrocardiography, we change these terms now. Is that understood? Because we are talking about these cells getting negatively charged negatively or charged positively. So we're going to talk about depolarization and repolarization. Easy. Depolarization means contraction, means systole. Repolarization means relaxation, means rest. Right? Means diastolic. Now, pay attention to the letters, because this is how you are going to understand. Re. What re reminds you of? Relax, rest. See? Now, if you know that repolarization is rest, don't care about the other name, because the other name is the opposite. That's systole. That is repolarization, contraction. Remember, contraction, relaxation. Contraction, relaxation. So from now on, that we start talking about the heart contracts, the heart depolarizes, the heart relaxes, or the muscle of the heart relaxes, the muscle repolarizes. Instead of resting, relaxing, there are the layman terms, we're going to use the medical terms. Because when you've been asked a question on the exam, they ask, okay, contraction means that the heart is doing what? Contraction, depolarizing. When they said, okay, the heart is relaxing, so the heart is doing what? Repolarizing. And now remember that these terms tends to kind of put you different directions. Don't get messed up for that. Remember, re for relaxation, for rest, repolarization. And the other one, you know, Dan, is the opposite. That's how I want you to see it. Because sometimes the names give you a kind of, right.
Like a preview of what it means.
Correct. So, if we follow that, every single time that you read the test, this is how I do it. And that's how I do well. Read the questions first. What happens when you read the question and then you go back and read it again, because now you see the answers, I forgot what was the question all about. And you go and read it and reread it. You're going to waste time. Because remember, these questions on the exam for the national, 1 minute per question. It is time. And there are some questions that are straightforward, very simple. But there are others that you have to read a little more. That has like a paragraph. So by the time that you start reading and going back and forth, you get frustrated, you don't know what to do. And the problem is that you have to answer it. You cannot move without answering. So you answer it anyways.
And I underline keywords, so when I go back to like look at everything else, I know like what words I should use.
That's true. But NHA has a problem. When you try to go back, and it is like 180 questions, right? And it was question number 30, and you already finished, you have to go back one by one. You cannot just say, oh, number 30, and go directly to that one. No. You have to go back 150 questions.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought
So while you're going back to that,
I didn't
time
know.
is up.
I thought it was on paper for some reason.
Yeah, everything electronic, they put it on the computer because they
Yeah.
got to know they want to watch you.
I don't know why it's on paper, so I
I'm thinking we just go pay this bit.
Nah, they on some
Yeah.
strict shit.
There are some of the other tests that give you the chance to go to question. You select a question. Go to question, boom. That will be perfect, right? Because you immediately go, I will write it down on my scrap paper and go boom, boom, boom. No, these ones, because I've seen my students. And they tell me, said, oh, professor, I want to take the test. And I mark the ones that I wasn't sure about it and go back if I have enough time. But you didn't tell me that you had to go one by one. I said, how do I know that? I didn't take the test. So be prepared for all that, okay? And don't stress yourself out. Remember that I already told you the key, right? Some of the questions are trial questions. Some of the questions you are within the margin of what you can have wrong.
Right.
So don't stress yourself. Make sure that the ones that you really kind of knowing, read it well. And say, oh my God, this is the one, this is the one, this, and don't go. Now later on when you click and it says, okay, congratulations, you passed, then you're going to be remembered.
Oh, it tells you once.
Yes, yes,
Oh, like,
immediately.
oh,
Thank you, Jesus.
Wait,
Wait,
right
wait,
away.
yes, I can't
Yeah.
stand
Although I
that.
thought we had to wait. Because I took a state test for, I think it was court assistant, and I waited like 4 months
no.
to find out.
What?
Yeah.
Sometimes it lasts like 5 years. Yeah.
And I did the CNA.
And I failed for 2 points.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know,
See,
like-
you wait so long for them to tell you no.
Yeah.
Here to tell you, yes, you know, you click submit.
That's
And
crazy.
then 5 seconds later, boom, Windows plus, pops up and it says, congratulations. Otherwise, it's gonna tell you, see you later.
How long do you have to wait to retest if you don't? I mean, if you fail.
Blood dilator, because what she's having is she have problems with her heart because her blood vessels get spasms and they become very narrow. So when she put that, the blood vessels extend and blood passes through it. Because if blood doesn't pass, because they become very narrow, blood doesn't pass, increases blood pressure, not enough blood, she start having shortness of breath, she's having chest pains, and that is what relaxes those muscles. That's called nitroglycerin.
Okay.
That's a question for your exam, like 99.9999%.
They give them that when they have like myocardial infarction.
Yeah, that's given to them when they have had a myocardial, some heart conditions, particularly myocardial.
She knows
infarction.
I'm going to school and she be asking me questions like I'm her doctor.
Now, be careful with all these.
Okay.
Be careful, very careful. Good point. See, I always want my students not to do anything even though if you know it. Like you ask me about this, but when she asks you something, don't say anything.
Yeah.
These old ladies, these old folks, this is what they do. They go to the doctor, they talk to the family, and they say that you say those things. Sometimes, even though if you didn't say it, because they have dementia, they have all these mental issues, but when you kind of address any of the concerns, you try to be helpful, right?
Yeah.
But then, be careful with that because they use it against you. And
She like,
who
no,
they gonna believe?
my sister
Who they gonna
told me
believe?
I
They're gonna believe them.
No. Yo.
So you
then-
said, sorry that I interrupted. The pill, the
Nitroglycerin.
You said sublingually?
Sublingual,
Okay.
yeah.
That's under the tongue.
Under the tongue.
Buccal is
After the third one, and the third one, you gotta come out.
Yeah, buccal. Not mucal.
No, buccal.
Yeah, correct. Mhm. So there are certain things that when you're working, you are exposed to a lot of stuff, and you wonder, why is it? Why are they doing this? What they just do this? That is issue. No, because that's how it works. This medication goes very slowly through the mucous membrane.
okay.
So they don't put it buccal because they will swallow it. They have to keep it under the tongue so they can dissolve right
and
there.
work. Okay.
And work slowly. Because otherwise it's gonna kind of remove the spasms immediately and she can have a kind of shock inside. So they release it slowly and it's very good. It works. It does,
Yeah,
definitely.
it helps a lot.
So we talk about, so we're gonna go this fast because it's the same thing. Just too much information, right? Depolarization, repolarization. What is the depolarization? Contraction, 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 contraction. What is repolarization? Relaxation, rest, relaxation. Remember, these are the things in EKG. Always. We're not gonna talk about systolic and diastolic anymore. It's depolarization, repolarization. Remember re, because it has the RE for rest, relax. So then, you know that the other one is the opposite. Always look for that. Contraction of the heart. Ah, contraction. I know that relaxation is re. Let's look for the. I got it. See? So that's how I remember a lot of stuff. Put little pieces together. They give you tips. Another thing, when you're taking the exams, you are totally lost. Kind of see all these questions, they look alike. All this is saying this is kind of similar. What is your choice? The longest answer. That's because you have more details. Pick that one. When you see all of the above, that's the correct answer.
Majority of the time, I try to do that.
Only the above that. You can't tell me
But every time I try to do that, I find it doesn't
But remember, the opposite also do not work. If you see none of the above, never pick the one. Because you don't know anything. That's what's telling you. Oh, none of the above because I don't know anything. None of the above is the answer. No,
that's
should not. When you see broad questions, for instance, always, that's not the right one. Never, that's not the right one. Seldom, sometimes, that's the correct one. See, but just looking at the questions, you kind of lost, you don't know what to do. But it says always, your students are always on time. Is that true?
No.
Not at all. Your students always get 100. Is that true? No. So think about that. Always is a very, very broad term that usually doesn't meet the requirements. So always is not the one. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, right? But those exceptions, you will learn it. For instance, never recap a needle. That is an exception. See? All depends, but the exceptions are very, very few. Whereas, no exceptions, don't take it in general. So those are the things that I've been learning through all this process of, I've been taking so many exams, I have done so many certifications. Even though as a doctor, I want to do other things.
Yeah.
So I have a teacher license, you have to take this. A English teacher, you have to take a test, you have to go to school or university to do the certificate. So, or the licensing. What else do you do? I have the surgical tech because I want to teach surgical tech, and it turns out that I never thought that, I didn't like it. So, but I went through the classes just to being a doctor. They give me credits for all that, right? But I had to pay. And I had to go take the test. So there are a lot of things that you put yourself through it. Because with this market that is so hard, I didn't want to be a doctor anymore. I was tired. I want to teach. But sometimes getting in the same routine and things like that, oh, what is it that if I teach something else that is not this or that? So you kind of look for other venues.
Like I'm tired of the job.
No, because it gets to you.
It's just like,
It gets to
every
you.
day, I want to do something different.
Yes.
I don't want to come here.
I like to go to jobs that I enjoy. That makes me happy. Makes me get
If I
up to
come
go to
in
work.
here today,
I know
do vitals,
bullshit.
and then I do this. Let me do something different tomorrow
Yeah.
or something.
Mr. Hart, Professor Hart, can I ask you a question about, it has nothing to do with you because you did not give us that test, but we haven't gotten the results from the final of phlebotomy, and we want to know what was...
I will talk to
Okay.
the director and I
Yeah.
will find out for you. Not a
She
problem.
told me not to worry about it because of whatever it is that transpired.
What the heck? I can feel like I missed
That
something.
wasn't in class.
But still, like, I really want to know what was that.
So you got a test here?
I won't lie, but I really
They
wasn't
give you the test
listening.
for phlebotomy, like a written test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He gave us that on Friday.
Okay. Yeah,
She
all-
told me the same thing because we had a test on Tuesday, so it was like I told her like we didn't have time to study and stuff like
But
that.
what does that mean exactly? That we're gonna have to take again for what?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's just not.
No, not the course itself, but you might get a test. If I have to do the test, I give you a take-home test.
Okay.
You know, if that comes to that.
What happened was I already had expressed out my frustration with you, but Bree went off the wall. She was not having it. She was like, "What is my money for? Give me my
I don't
money."
blame you.
That's what she was.
What are you talking about? Work?
Oh no! What happened is class.
Oh, okay. So yeah, guys, you know, in life, we are like a roller coaster, right? Sometimes we're up, sometimes in the middle, sometimes down, you know, and every single place that we go to, the things that we're gonna do, you know, we expect things to be this way, we expect things to be, you know, that everything is gonna come nice and smoothly. Sometimes it's because of us, sometimes it's because of someone else, right? But there's always something. You know, that's what we have to deal every single time.
Yeah.
Don't take it to the heart. This is just the up and downs of our life, and we have to learn from it. If it was our mistake, try to correct it. If it was somebody else's mistake, try to do a little more research before you get into those places that you want to go, right?
Yeah.
So, hey, like Danielle said, somebody told her, do not worry about that. If it was by news, you would already know it. By now, you have found out. Otherwise, just keep it up. Yeah. You are on the right track. Do your best. And if it's something that I can help you with, we work together. Okay? So just move on whatever you are doing right now. The past is the past. Let's move now, stay in the present, and see what's going to happen tomorrow, right? When we get there. For now, that's it. So all this is the same thing. See? I told you already. Depolarization, contraction, repolarization, relaxation, rest. That's it. So all these like 5, 6 slides that I just passed through is the same thing. So the only thing that we want to know is like you remember these terms. They remember this because from now on in EKG we're going to talk about the heart is depolarizing, the heart is repolarizing.
Do you read?
Yeah.
That's how I remember it. Do you read?
Everybody has their own kind of way of getting things and putting things together. So if it works for you, that's what you're gonna do. That's what I do myself. I teach some of my tricks because I want you to learn it, because it make it easier for you later on, right? To recognize something. Because remember, this is not gonna be your last class. So it's gonna be another one, and probably another one. And by the time you get to the second, third class, this is kind of forgotten. Then you have to go review it. But if you have a little case tips right here, it says, oh my God, I remember this. As soon as you see it, it comes back to you a lot easier. Cardiac conduction system, once again, the same thing. Conduction is the electrical part, right? So this is what we're talking about. It says right there that a group of specialized cells are the ones that are doing this job. This is like a relay kind of, game. One cell gets electrified, pass the electricity to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, to the next one, and all of them got electrified. And that's what causes the contraction. So that's basically what it's telling you right there, in simple words. Is that understood? Do you have to know every single detail? No, not at all. Now, this is important. This is similar, this is the electrical path of the heart. It's very similar to the blood flow. How the blood comes from the system, through the superior, inferior vena cava, passes to the right atrium, to the tricuspid valve, to the left, to the right ventricle, then to the pulmonary valve, to the pulmonary artery, and then to the lungs, right? This is the same. This is how electricity starts. Where does this electricity starts? Where it goes next, and how this electricity starts contracting the atria, which one contracts the ventricles. what makes the atria to pump blood to the ventricles, what makes the ventricles to contract and pump blood to the rest of the body. So that's basically what it is. So we're going to start with... See, I was trying to...
Or make it smaller?
Yeah, I had to make it smaller.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, no.
Oh, there you go.
Too small?
I mean, no,
No,
you
that's
can
good.
see.
You can see.
Okay, let's put it right there and then I scroll
That's
it down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
right there. No, actually, it's there. So the way where is the electrical impulses are generated, then moves through this track. Why? Because this electricity is like having a battery in one place, and it's going to be distributing the electrical around the house. Let's say that there is a transformer, there is a electrical meter, right? It's outside your home or somewhere within your home, and then you have all these cables bringing all the electrical to this room, to that room, to this everywhere in your house or in your apartment, right? So that's exactly what's going on right here. So we're gonna have the SA node. Now this is called the sinoatrial node. Sino means the atria, the sinus. It's a space. It's a little space when you're gonna place the electrical meter. Let's put it outside. That you see, sometimes they put it like in a little box at the entrance of your home. So this is basically what it is. So we're gonna have a battery in our heart that is going to initiate the electrical impulses of the heart. What is the name of that battery? SA node or sinoatrial node. S sino A atrium. Why? Because it's located on the right atrium. So learn it this way. Our heart has a main battery. And what is the name of that battery? SA node. That's it. This is the natural pacemaker. You heard about pacemakers, right? Well, we have a natural one and we have an artificial one.
Oh, you know.
So usually when we hear about pacemakers, you think, the heart is not functioning okay, so they put an extra battery to them. Well, it is true, but in reality, we have a normal, natural, we were born with a battery. Is that understood? That's called the SA node. And it's called sinus atrial because it's located in a little space within the atria. The right atrium. That's it. Now, this is going to have some cables that is going to send electricity to the left atrium. So it has right here the internodal atrial muscles. So I'm going to show you a picture next when we're going to see all these connections. Is that understood? So then the electricity is going to go to the atrioventricular node. So what is the atrioventricular node? In between the atria and the ventricles. Right a little above, when you find the tricuspid valve, is going to be a second battery. So you have the main battery right here that is called the SA node. Then you're going to have some cables, one going to the left atrium. The other one is going to go to the bottom of the right atrium because this is going to connect with the ventricles now. So we're going to have the distribution of all those cables from the outside of the electrical meter through the inside. Is that understood? Because each one of them is going to bring electricity to different areas of your home. So this is the same here with the heart. Now the atrioventricular node. Here is very important what happened here because this is what we call, it makes a pause right here. This is called the gatekeeper. The AV node is known as the gatekeeper. This is very important because this will be asked in your exam. So they're gonna ask you, what is another name? No, or what is the AB node known as? The gatekeeper. Gatekeeper. Now, what is a gatekeeper? You know, soccer, right? The guy who's the keeper that doesn't allow the ball to go in. Well, this doesn't allow electricity to go to the ventricles. It's like a switch. It's a switch. And I'm going to tell you how that works when we get to the picture, so you understand what's going on. There is a switch. That switch is off when the atria is filling in with blood. So when the atria is filling in with blood, then the valves are closed, right? The atrioventricular valves, because you're not allowing the blood to pass, because you gotta wait until the atria fills in. And because the switch is off, there is no contraction. So when the atria fills in with blood, immediately the switch is on now. And that is when the atria muscles contract and the valves in between the atria opens up and blood seeps through the ventricles. Now, because the switch is on, now all the blood goes to the ventricles, and the ventricles now are activated because the electricity passed through these other channels that we're going to talk about now. Now, this forces these valves, the atrioventricular valves, to close. Then the gatekeeper shuts down again and keeps on doing that. This is, oh my God, this is not full yet. The upper chambers are receiving blood, it's filling in. They have no more space where to fill in. The electrical impulses immediately send a shock. Valves open up, blood seeps down to the ventricles. Now the electricity goes down to the ventricles. Now the ventricles are going to contract, and the ventricles are going to pump blood to the lungs and to the rest of the body. So that's how this works. So this is the gatekeeper. It makes a pause. And what is so important? Because if these doors are not there or these doors are open, what happens is that the blood that is entering the atria is going directly to the ventricles. So what is the purpose then to have 4 chambers? It will make no sense. So first, let's put the blood filling these upper chambers. When they are full of blood, then the electrical impulses activates these cells, so the cells can contract, squeezes, so force the valves in between the atria and the ventricles to open, and the blood seeps in through the ventricles. Now, because the ventricles are full, the pressure changes, now is higher, shuts the valves that were before open, right? And that's how it works. Now the electricity goes to the bundle of His. The bundle of His is after the AB node, after these atrioventricular valves. It rises right there in the septum. Remember the septum, the muscle? It goes a little cable in the muscle. Then this cable divides, has 2 branches. One goes to the right ventricle, another cable goes to the left ventricle. And each one of these cables that goes to the right and to the left ventricle, they have some fibers that are the ones that activate the ventricles. Those are called the Purkinje fibers. So let's look at the picture so you get a better understanding. Because we're going to repeat this over and over. We're going to talk about these from now on in EKG. So you're going to get these straight out. So we're almost done. Just going to look at the picture and we are out of here.
Where I need to go? Food, medicine, everything.
Come from snacks.
Oops.
You smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
Here it
I
is.
wouldn't have thought of that.
Okay. So we're going to go over this and call it a day.
Adios.
Okay, so here we have the right atrium, right? This little piece right here, that's the main battery of the heart. So this is called the SA node. Right here, this is the battery. And you see all these cables that bring electricity to the atria? The right. But then, it is on the right. How do I contract the left atrium? Because there is one cable that goes to that side. So don't worry about the names of those. Worry about the SA node. The other channels, no worries. Then here is the atrioventricular node, the second battery. So we have 3 batteries in our heart. The main one, which is the natural pacemaker or SA node. Then we have the AB node, and then we have the Purkinje fibers. What are those Purkinje fibers that I don't see? Which are these fibers? So this produces electricity because it's a battery. This produces electricity because it's a battery. These cables don't. See, the cables that runs through your walls, they don't have electricity. What has electricity? The outlets, all these switches, all these lights, that will be the Purkinje fibers.
The conduction pathway?
Yes,
Okay.
this is the conduction pathway, the whole thing.
Oh, the whole thing. Okay.
The whole thing.
Got it,
But
got
the
it.
ones that produces the heart, see, when this activates, when the SA node activates, what causes? The atria to contract. When the AB node, what is the function of the AB node? To hold the electrical impulses not to run to the ventricles. Why? Because it's filling with blood. When this fills with blood, then the heart senses, because of the pressure that increases, because the blood doesn't have space where else to go, then immediately triggers this battery to activate the switch from this one. This opens up and allows electricity goes down. For that reason, this opens up, these valves, these 2 valves opens up, and blood seeps to the ventricles. Then the electricity goes through these, but these are just cables. All these are cables. But at the end of these cables, one on the right side, right ventricle, left ventricle, they activate because these are batteries. These all fibers are batteries. So they are the one that contracts and push blood from the right ventricle to the lungs and from the left ventricle to the rest of the body. So it's a lot simpler than the blood flow because the blood flow has all these little channels that has to go through, right? This one, it doesn't. It has only these main things. Next class, we're going to be talking about more about this and what is the inherent rate of each one of these batteries. What is it that they do? What is the electrical impulses that they produce? How do we see them on an electrocardiogram? What is the image that this SA node makes when the atria contracts, when the ventricle contracts, when they relax? What is it that we see? So that will be the major part that we're going to be seeing from now on. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Definitely have fun.